Glad you liked it. Want me to tweak anything, or do you need it for a specific occasion? There's a moment in life when everything changes. Not because the world shifts, but because you do. That moment happens the instant you realize that perspective is not just the way you see things, it is the way you experience life itself. Think about this. Two people go through the exact same challenge. One crumbles under the weight of it, feeling like the universe is against them. The other sees it as a stepping stone, a lesson, an opportunity to grow. Same situation, different outcomes. The only difference? Perspective. The way you choose to see things defines what they become. Every moment, every challenge, every so-called failure, it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you interpret it. And that interpretation is completely within your control. History is filled with stories of people who change their perspectives, and in doing so change their destinies. The greatest minds, the most successful people, the ones who left an impact on the world, they weren't immune to struggle. They just saw their struggles differently. They saw obstacles as puzzles to solve, not as barriers to stop them. They saw criticism as feedback, not rejection. They saw failure as a necessary step, not a final outcome. The truth is, life is neutral. It's neither for you nor against you. It simply is. What gives it meaning, what turns moments into victories or defeats, is the lens through which you choose to see it. Some people spend their whole lives wishing circumstances were different. They blame the economy, their past, their parents, their environment, and yet others in the same situation rise above, not because the world changed for them, but because they changed how they saw the world. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding that every challenge is an opportunity. Imagine seeing setbacks as setups for something greater. Imagine looking at every obstacle and thinking, this is happening for me, not to me. That shift in thinking is more powerful than any amount of money, talent, or luck, because once you master perspective, you master your reality. Failure, a word that most people fear, a word that stops more dreams, kills more ideas, and paralyzes more ambition than anything else. But what if I told you that failure is not the opposite of success? What if I told you that failure is the very thing that leads to success? Think about a baby learning to walk. The first time they try, they fall. The second time, they fall again, and again, and again. But does that baby ever stop and think, maybe walking just isn't for me? No, because failure is how they learn. Every fall teaches them balance. Every stumble builds their strength. They don't see failure as defeat. They see it as progress. Yet somehow, as we grow older, we forget this. We start believing that failure is a sign to stop. That if we don't get it right the first time, we never will. But the truth is, failure is not the end, it's the beginning. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every great achievement in history was built on failure. The greatest minds, the most successful people, they weren't spared from failure. They embraced it. They understood that every mistake was a lesson, every setback a push forward, every rejection a redirection towards something even better. Think about any skill you've ever learned, whether it was riding a bike, playing an instrument, or solving a difficult problem. At some point you failed. But that failure didn't mean you weren't capable. It simply meant you weren't there yet. And yet is the key word. Failure is feedback. It's the universe telling you what doesn't work so you can discover what does work. The problem isn't failure itself, it's how we react to failure. Some people let it break them. Others use it as fuel. Picture this. Two people start a business. The first one launches, faces setbacks, and quits, telling themselves, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. The second one launches, fails, adjusts, tries again, fails again, adjusts again, and keeps going. Who do you think succeeds in the end? It's never the one who avoids failure, it's the one who uses failure. And that's the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who never even try. The people who succeed aren't the ones who had a perfect run, they're the ones who failed, learned, and kept moving forward. Failure is not a dead end, it's a stepping stone. It's the foundation of every success story ever written. And the best part, the number of times you can fail is infinite, which means the number of times you can rise is infinite too. There is one thing that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, the fulfilled from the frustrated, the unstoppable from the ones who quit: passion. Passion is not just enthusiasm, it's not just excitement. Passion is the fire that keeps you moving when everything around you tells you to stop. It's the reason some people work tirelessly, not because they have to, but because they can't imagine doing anything else. It's the invisible force that turns late nights into breakthroughs, failures into fuel, and obstacles into opportunities. Look at the people who have truly changed the world, not the ones who followed the rules, but the ones who rewrote them. They didn't do it for money, they didn't do it for fame, they did it because something inside them burned too brightly to ignore. Passion is the ultimate advantage. You can have all the resources, the education, the connections, but if you don't have passion, none of it will matter, because the moment things get hard, and they will get hard, you'll look for a way out. You'll convince yourself that maybe this isn't for you. But when you're passionate about something, you don't look for exits, you look for solutions. Think about this. The people who reach the top of their fields, the ones who break records, create revolutions, and inspire generations, are they the ones who simply went through the motions, or are they the ones who obsessed over their craft, who woke up every morning thinking about it, who stayed up late perfecting it, who would do it for free if they had to? Passion is the difference between effort and obsession. Effort means you work hard. Obsession means you never stop thinking about it. And the world belongs to those who are obsessed. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack the fire to keep going. They lose interest. They get bored. They chase things that don't excite them. And when the first challenge appears, they fold. But when you love what you do, quitting isn't an option. Because even when you fail, even when you struggle, even when people doubt you, you keep going. Not because someone told you to, but because you have to. It's in your blood, it's in your soul, it's who you are. The most dangerous people in the world are the ones who have nothing to lose, except the thing they are passionate about. These are the people who change industries, break barriers, and redefine what's possible. Because when you have passion, you don't need permission. You don't wait for the right moment, you create the right moment. And here's the truth. Passion isn't something you find, it's something you choose, it's something you nurture, it's something you commit to. The people who live the most extraordinary lives are the ones who decide that nothing matters more than the thing that sets their soul on fire. Passion over everything. Because when you have passion, nothing can stop you. There is one thing that destroys more dreams, kills more potential, and leaves more people filled with regret than anything else: fear of taking risks. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for a sign that tells them now is the moment. But here's the harsh truth: there is no perfect moment. There is no sign. There is only now. And the longer you wait, the more chances you let slip through your fingers. Think about the people who changed the world, the ones who built empires, created masterpieces, broke records. They weren't the ones who played it safe. They weren't the ones who waited for permission. They were the ones who took risks when everyone else hesitated. Because the biggest danger in life is not failing, it's never trying at all. Most people are afraid of taking risks because they don't want to lose what they have. But here's the reality. Playing it safe is the riskiest thing you can do. The world moves fast. If you're not growing, if you're not evolving, if you're not taking bold steps forward, you're falling behind. Look around you. How many people do you know who once had big dreams but never acted on them? How many people do you see living the same year over and over again, stuck in a routine they never wanted, too afraid to make a change? That's the real failure, not losing, but never daring to play the game. Because the truth is, every successful person you admire took a risk. They bet on themselves when no one else would. They put everything on the line for something they believed in. And yes, some of them failed. Some of them fell flat on their faces. But failure is temporary. Regret is permanent. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean jumping in blindly. It means making a choice to chase something bigger than fear. It means accepting uncertainty and trusting that even if things don't go as planned, you will learn, adapt, and grow. Because here's the thing about risk. The best opportunities will never feel comfortable. They will never come with a guarantee. And most people let them pass by because they're waiting for certainty. But the people who win in life are the ones who jump before they're ready. Think about every major decision you've made in your life. The ones that changed you. The ones that shaped who you are today. Were they safe? Were they predictable? Or were they moments where you took a chance, stepped into the unknown, and came out stronger on the other side? Most people think they have time. They tell themselves, I'll do it later, I'll start next year, I'll take the leap when I'm ready. But time is the one thing you never get back. And one day you'll wake up and realize that the risks you were too afraid to take are now the regrets you have to live with. So ask yourself, what is the risk you've been avoiding? What is the thing you know you need to do but fear has been holding you back? Because no matter what the risk is, starting that business, making that move, quitting that job, chasing that dream, there is one truth you cannot escape. The cost of not taking the risk will always be greater than the cost of failing. There is a myth that complexity is a sign of intelligence, that the more complicated something is, the better it must be, that true mastery means adding more, doing more, explaining more. But the opposite is true. Genius is not in complexity, genius is in simplicity. Look at the greatest inventions, the most revolutionary ideas, the most timeless works of art. They are not great because they are complicated, they are great because they take something complex and make it effortless. They strip away the unnecessary, leaving only what matters. Simplicity is not the absence of effort. It is the result of mastery. The best designs, the best solutions, the best strategies, they are simple, but not because they started that way. They started messy, complicated, confusing, but through refining, through cutting away what doesn't serve a purpose, through relentless focus, simplicity was discovered. Think about the devices you use every day. The best ones don't require a manual. The best technology is intuitive. You don't have to think about how it works, it just works. That's the power of simplicity. But simplicity isn't just about design or technology, it's about how you think, how you work, how you live. Most people overcomplicate their lives. They try to do too many things at once. They chase too many goals, listen to too many opinions, spread themselves too thin, and in doing so, they lose sight of what truly matters. The most successful people, they simplify. They focus on what's important and eliminate what's not. They understand that doing less, but doing it exceptionally well, is far more powerful than doing everything with mediocrity. Simplicity is clarity. It's knowing exactly what you stand for, it's removing distractions, cutting out the noise, and concentrating your energy on what moves the needle. It's easy to add more tasks, more features, more complexity, but the real challenge, the true mark of genius, is knowing what to remove. Simplicity is the reason the greatest speeches in history are short, the reason the most impactful messages are clear, the reason the best leaders communicate in a way that everyone understands. It's not because they know less, it's because they know exactly what matters. Most people complicate things because they think complexity makes them look smarter. They fill their sentences with jargon, they add extra steps to their work, they create systems that are harder than they need to be. But real intelligence is the ability to take something complicated and make it simple. Simplicity is efficiency. It's doing more with less. It's making things work better, faster, smoother, not by adding more, but by removing the unnecessary. Look at your own life. What's slowing you down? What's making things harder than they need to be? What could you simplify right now that would give you more clarity, more freedom, more impact? Because simplicity isn't just genius, it's power. There is one resource in life that is more valuable than money, more precious than talent, and more powerful than opportunity. Time. You can always earn more money, you can always gain more knowledge, you can always build more skills, but you will never get more time. And the greatest tragedy in life is not failure, it's not rejection, it's not making mistakes, it's wasting time on things that don't matter. Most people live as if they have forever. They tell themselves, I'll start tomorrow. I'll chase my dreams next year. I'll take that risk when I'm ready. But time doesn't wait. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into years, and before they know it, they're looking back at a life filled with what-ifs and regrets. Think about this. If you live to be 80 years old, you get around 4,000 weeks in your lifetime. That's it. And by the time you realize how precious time is, most of it will already be gone. The people who truly live, who truly leave an impact, are the ones who understand this simple truth. Every day is a chance to create something meaningful. Every hour you waste is an hour you will never get back. Every opportunity you ignore is one you may never see again. And the worst part, most people don't realize this until it's too late. How many people do you know who wake up every day and go through the motions? They work a job they hate, they stay in relationships that don't fulfill them, they spend their time on distractions instead of their dreams, and deep down, they know they were meant for more. But instead of acting, they wait. They wait for the right moment, the perfect conditions, the day when everything will magically fall into place. But here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. There is no right time. There is only now. Think about what you would do if you knew you had 1 year left to live. Would you still be doing what you're doing now? Would you still be worried about the opinions of others? Would you still be afraid of failure, of rejection, of taking risks? If the answer is no, then why are you living that way today? The people who change the world, the ones who make history, the ones who live without regret, they are the ones who understand that time is running out. They don't waste it. They don't wait for permission. They don't let fear stop them. They take action. They chase their dreams. They create, they build, they love, they push themselves beyond their limits, because they know that one day there will be no more time left. So ask yourself, are you living or are you just existing? Are you making the most of the time you have, or are you letting it slip through your fingers? Because in the end, your time is limited, and the only thing that matters is how you use it.